Welcome to Virtual Classroom. Our today's topic is early embryonic development of human being. We need to know about the early development, particularly in the first trimester of pregnancy. There is chance of multiple environmental effect which can have deleterious effect on the development of the fetus and ultimately give rise to some congenital anomalies. Apart from the genetic causes and chromosomal causes, there are a lot of environmental factors that influences upon the fetus to produce this type of congenital anomalies. This may be exposure to the radiation like X-rays, nutritional deficiency like folate deficiency, viral infection like Coxsackie B virus, herpes simplex virus, and lot of other virus, environmental mitogens, and maybe some drug effects, particularly in case of alcoholic mother or mothers who has uncontrolled diabetes mellitus or hypertension, or those who are using this type of some type of antihypertensive drugs are more vulnerable to develop congenital anomalies. So we'll first of all talk about the early development. Later on, we'll talk about the development of the cardiovascular system that includes the heart and the blood vessels, and also development of the lungs and other thoracic organs. First of all, we'll go into the early development of early human development. So we will go into the details of the early development, early embryonic development. So we know that the egg is fertilized in the distal part of the fallopian tube, and after fertilization, the zygote divides into 2 stages, 4 cell stages, 8 cell stages, and so on. And it migrates along the fallopian tube. And on day 6, it forms a cystic cavity within this. This is known as blastocyst because it is a hollow ball with the wall with a fluid filled cavity. That's why it is called blastocyst. And when there is a formation of the trilaminar germ cell, because the cells are organized into inner cell mass and the outer cell mass, and when there is a trilaminar germ cell formation, there is also an appearance of the cavity which contains lot of fluid that is called blastocyst cavity, and in this stage it is called gastrula. So we know that the early embryo develops into inner cell mass and the outer cell mass. The inner cell mass, here it is called the embryoblast, and the outer cell mass is called the trophoblast. And the cavity here is the blastocystic cavity, and here is implants into the uterine endometrium. Through the uterine endometrium into the uterine wall, it becomes implanted. And later on, with further development, there is formation of the cytotrophoblast and syncytotrophoblast from the outer cell mass, and the embryoblast then organize into uppermost epiblast, and the lower one is called hypoblast, and there is a collection of the fluid over the embryonic pole, and this is called amniotic fluid, and the cavity is called amniotic cavity. This is the initial stage. And this syncytotrophoblast invades into the uterine wall, and the cytotrophoblast, from the cytotrophoblast, there is formation of an extra embryonic mesodermal layer, which in the lateral part is divided into extra embryonic somatopleuric mesoderm and the extra embryonic splanchnopleuриc mesoderm. And as a result of this extraembryonic splanchnopleuric mesoderm, there is migration of the cells from the hypoblast into the inside of the extraembryonic splanchnopleuric mesoderm. And so the rest of the cavity is separated and it is called chorionic cavity. And so it is separated from the chorionic cavity. The cavity is much reduced here. It is called primordial yolk sac. So if we look at the third week of embryo, then we see these layers like the cytotrophoblast and the syncytotrophoblast outside, and extra embryonic somatopleuric mesoderm here, and the extraembryonic splanchnopleuric mesoderm here. It is connected with the extraembryonic somatopleuric mesoderm by connecting stalk. Later on, from the cytotrophoblast and syncytotrophoblast, there is formation of villi which invades into the uterine wall, and the maternal blood comes into different lacunae in this layer, and the connecting stalk also develops some blood vessels. Small amount of angiogenic cell clusters are there, and they forms blood vessel. And when this yolk sac is further reduced in size and it is lined by the hypoblast, it is called secondary yolk sac, because it is reduced much more in size, leaving a exocoelomic cyst in the chorionic cavity. And this epiblast and hypoblast, from the epiblast there is migration of the cell inside and forms a mesodermal layer in the middle of these three mesodermal layers. So it is, at that time, it becomes trilamina germ disc. Here it is the ectoderm, and here it is the notochordal process, which moves forwards from the primitive stick, and on each side there is mesodermal layer, and inside of it there is endodermal layer. Here at the lateral border, the definitive mesoderm is connected with the extraembryonic mesoderm. So this is the cut open amniotic cavity to see the embryo from the upper surface. Here in the dorsum we see that the ectoderm has developed into, here it is developed into the neural tube, and this is neural crest ectoderm, and this is the cut end of the amniotic membrane. So we see this is a longitudinal section of the embryo, and this is a transverse section of the embryo. If we study the longitudinal section of the embryo, we see that there is, on the ectoderm, there is the primitive groove, and here is the groove or streak, and here is the notochordal process which migrates through the mesoderm, through the ectodermal layer. And there is formation of the mesoderm here, and inside there is endoderm. On two sides, one is the fusar oropharyngeal membrane side or procaudal plate, where the ectoderm is fused to the endoderm, and another is the anal plate, where the ectoderm is fused to the endoderm, and it's covered on above by the amniotic cavity and below by the definitive yolk sac. So if we see further that the extraembryonic mesoderm is here, and this is the definitive mesoderm, and it is differentiated into paraxial mesoderm, intermediate mesoderm, and the lateral plate mesoderm. And we see the procaudal plate here, that is the fused portion between the ectoderm and endoderm, and this is the allantois, or here it's also fused, the ectoderm and endoderm fused. And in front of the procaudal plate, there is formation of the oropharyngeal membrane, fusar mouth, and in front of that there is the cranium. on further development, there is, due to excessive growth of the neural tissue, there is cephalocaudal bending, as well as there is lateral bending, so that the yolk sac is taken up into the developing guard and only connected with the guard by a narrow channel that is called vitelline duct. And here we see that the buccopharyngeal membrane in this section is in front of the brain, but due to this bending, and in front of the brain, there is also angiogenic cell cluster. Here there is developing blood cell and blood vessel. Due to cephalocaudal bending and due to excessive growth, this brain becomes expanded and it takes the developing curtain onto the ventral aspect, and the vitelline duct which connects with the yak sac, it is also taken up inside the body due to cephalocaudal bending as well as the lateral bending. If you see the section of a longitudinal section, then we see that the developing heart tube develops, and there is a pericardial cavity. The pericardial cavity remains at first dorsal to the developing heart tube, and because of this bending, it bends so much so that the pericardial cavity becomes ventral to the heart tube and the heart tube becomes dorsal to it. And on each side there is developing dorsal aorta also. So if we see, this is the cut open, the amniotic membrane is cut open to see the embryo from the dorsal aspect. Here we see the neural plate. Here is the primitive streak and the primitive node through which the notochordal process develops into the mesoderm in the midline. And there are some angiogenic cell cluster as well as myoblast, which forms a horseshoe-shaped structure in front of the neural plate. It's a horseshoe-shaped structure. There are clusters of developing blood cells and also blood endothelial tubes also. So this is the migration of the ectodermal layer. Here the ectoderm develops and migrates into the to form the mesoderm. All the cells actually arise from the ectoderm. Even the endoderm, they also displaces the hypoblast on the lateral side. On each side, these hypoblasts are displaced, and the mesoderm then has a connection with the extra embryonic mesoderm also. So on each side of the notochordal process, in the just deep to the splanchnopleuric mesoderm, there is developing blood islands from where the blood cells as well as the blood vessels develops on each side. So if we see this section, we see that the buccopharyngeal membrane lies in front of the cephalic end of the embryo, and the pericardial cavity remains dorsal to the developing heart tube, and the allantois on the behind into the connecting stalk. Formation and position of the heart tube. So we see that the pericardial cavity is here dorsal and the developing heart tubes is ventral. The buccopharyngeal membrane lies just behind to it, and the septum transversum is in front of this developing heart tube. Because of the excessive growth of the brain, there is cephalocaudal bending, and because of that, the buccopharyngeal membrane is pushed towards the ventral aspect, and the heart tube now becomes ventral to the pericardial cavity. And because of the excessive growth of the heart tube, initially it was two heart tube, and that becomes fused in the middle. Ultimately, two ends are bifurcated, and one end is called truncus, another end is called sinus venosus. We will talk about it later on the development of the heart. And so it pushes itself inside the pericardial cavity, and because there is very less space in the pericardial cavity, the heart tube becomes folded upon itself. So on each side there are two dorsal tubes, dorsal aorta that is formed, and here you see the lateral bending. And ultimately, if we make a transverse section at this level, we see this is the neural crest ectoderm, and this is the neural tube, and in front of that is the gut tube. This is the notochordal process. On each side, there is formation of the dorsal aorta, and there is endothelial heart tube in the middle, and around that there is collection of some connective tissue, which is called cardiac jelly. And this mesoderm, this pink colored mesoderm, it is divided into paraxial mesoderm, intermediate, and the lateral plate mesoderm. Lateral plate mesoderm is again divided into somatopleuric mesoderm and splanchnopleural mesoderm. This is the primitive heart tubes on each side, and it is fused in the middle to form the one heart tube with both ends bifurcated. So this is all about the early embryonic development. We'll talk about the development of the heart, vascular system, and other thoracic organs, development of other thoracic organs later on in another lecture. Okay, thank you very much.